Yeah, no, because they don't.
Okay. Slow start.
Welcome to the main stage for our closing remarks, which will be delivered by Kim Slade, our Breaking Silence Building Communities project manager. Kim is also the founder and principal consultant for her consulting firm, Design and Create, Inc. Kim has over 20 years of experience leading instructional design, innovation, and new product development in the government, not-for-profit, and private sectors. Kim is also on the board of directors for Ontario Tech University and a founding member of Boots on the Ground Peer Support for First Responders, a charity providing confidential peer support to Ontario's first responders. Among her many achievements, Kim received the Canadian Society of Safety Engineers National Award for her work to support mental health and PTSD prevention in the first responder community. Kim has a Bachelor of Arts in English and Communication, as well as adult education certification from the University of Toronto, Ontario, Institute for Studies in Education. And she is currently completing a certificate in data storytelling at the University of Chicago. We are very pleased and very honored to present to you, Kim.
Thanks so much, Jessica. So I wanted to start first by highlighting that this year is Abuse Hurt's 30th anniversary. They have been helping several hundreds of thousands of people, and they've delivered over 250,000 items through their Delivering Hope program. When I started working with the team on this project, I felt so blessed to be given this opportunity. The team is just amazing, and the work that they do spans a variety of services which operate because of the generous private donations with no sustaining funds given to them from any government body. They are a fiscally responsible organization that supports dozens of other organizations, including children's services, victim services, shelters, and other agencies that deal with many children, women, and men whose lives have been impacted by abuse. Please join me in congratulating the Abuse Hurts team and their board for the significant impact that they're making in the community. And to close this afternoon, I'm going to share an overview of our project and why we embarked on this, what we have learned, and what's next for the project, and some of the upcoming exciting events that Abuse Hurts has going on. So I wanted to start by sort of grounding us in how this project came about and why this is so important. And through our 3 conferences, we've had many speakers talking about intimate partner violence and the impact that it has in Canada. But I just wanted to share some statistics, which I found on the Canadian Women's Foundation website. So there's 4 in 10 women who experience violence in Canada. And for Indigenous women, it's 6 in 10 Indigenous women experience violence in their lifetime. For transgender women, 3 in 5 experience violence from the time they're age 16. And for those who identify as lesbian or bisexual, they are 3 to 4 times more likely to report spousal violence. If you are a disabled person, you are 3 times more likely to experience violence. And racialized women's reports of violence are often taken less seriously within the criminal law system, and perpetrators receive routinely less harsh punishments. Every 6 days, a woman is killed by her partner in Canada, and Indigenous women are 7 times more likely to be killed. So when you look at these statistics, this is part of the reason that we focused on this topic and why we had a specific focus on marginalized women. The Breaking Silence Building Community project had 3 primary goals. One was to increase knowledge and awareness with a particular focus on marginalized women and girls who are part of the Indigenous, visible minority, LGBTQ2S, and lower economic communities. We wanted to explore and understand the challenges and gaps that contribute to systematic interpersonal and intimate partner violence as it relates to interactions with first responders, healthcare, and education workers. And we wanted to develop and implement a leading practice tool to assist first responders, healthcare, education workers with the prevention and detection of intimate partner violence. So many of our sessions focused on these areas over the 3 conferences. To start, we conducted a survey before our first conference, and we had 280 people respond. And that provided us some guidance as to topics and areas that we should focus and what some of the needs were, and even some initial ideas about what a project could be at the end and what kind of tool we could build. Then we engaged a stakeholder group. So we brainstormed who were the primary, secondary, tertiary stakeholders, and we gathered them together to help us understand where we should focus and get some feedback on some of our initial ideas. And we'll be re-engaging that stakeholder group as we move into the product development phase. And then, as you know, you attended one today. We've been doing 3 conferences over the last year. And these conferences were knowledge transfer conferences, and we really wanted to understand the good work that everyone was doing. And we are very fortunate to have a pan-Canadian presence at our conferences and hear about great work that's been going across Canada. So our 3 conferences were Learn, Leverage, and Lead. And Learn focused on understanding our current experience. And this was about sharing stories and identifying gaps and opportunities. This included research, lived experience, existing approaches, and thoughtful exploration of how to mindfully make change and increase awareness and empowerment of individuals within communities. Leverage focused on how to collaborate, break down stereotypes, and build bridges in the community. This included understanding how other groups have worked together to build community or address difficult or challenging situations. We explored joint problem solving, case studies, building community resilience, and how to maintain a foundation of hope and build a culture of hope. And Lead, which you've attended today, focuses on how to move to action, how to break down inequality barriers, identify leading practices for prevention, detection, and intervention, and exploring future possibilities. So we had over 500. When I did this slide, we were at 500, but we actually had about 510 people who registered. We had 230 plus organizations represented. We had 59 speakers and 15 exhibitors. As you can see on the slide of Canada, we had representation Canada-wide. It was pan-Canadian. We had 8 international attendees over the 3 conferences, and we had 15 that were undeclared. They didn't say where they were coming from. And that was an astounding engagement of people in the conference participation. So I'm going to share a little bit now about what we have learned through this conference process. We went through an exercise where we looked at the previous 2 conferences, and we wanted to really see if there were themes or things that were happening that were gaps. And we identified these are 3 of the top gaps. I think we had about 25 total, but I'm sharing the top ones. So one of them was the imperfect system. Something that we were hearing was that there was a one-size-fits-all kind of approach that was happening, that there were justice system biases, and that reports were not always taken seriously, and that stereotyping was occurring, which we actually have heard throughout some of the sessions today. There's a lack of coordination and understanding, so a lack of understanding of community partner roles or limitations, which is really important as we make referrals from one service to another or one community partner to another. We need to understand the role that our partners play, as well as their limitations and what they can and can't do. We need to understand the different cultures that we work with. The lack of awareness in the general population needs to be addressed, and we don't know how to access, and probably more research is required. And then lack of prevention-focused approach. So I know that we've heard some today about trauma-informed approaches, and some of the other previous sessions talked about that. And this, I think, is an emerging area. We have lots of work to do around understanding what it means to be trauma-informed and introduce that into more programming and aspects of things that we're doing. There's not enough prevention-focused offerings, and we get stuck in an old box sort of approach that gender-based violence is a women's issue. And I know that we've had Jake speaking today, and in our first session, our keynote speaker spoke about how we need to engage men in the conversation and really understand how its impact on the community. But we also had some really great lessons learned. And these are the top three that I'm going to share with you. So the first was that we need to create more community-focused solutions that focus on healing, accessible, easily cultural aware, empowering, partnership-based, that include everyone. And we need to focus on process. And when we talk about process, it's about understanding ownership, accountability, setting protocols to promote success and not failure, empowering the citizens in our communities, and working with the front line and leadership to really drive key messages and share the stories that need to be shared. And then we need to improve our learning to take action. So we need to be the voice, we need to be the advocate. There was a number, we had sticky notes everywhere in the room that we're currently in producing this today. And what kept coming up is this needs to be a leadership issue. And leaders everywhere need to understand this issue because knowledge is power. So this is leaders in workplaces, leaders in our communities. We need to take action to change, but that needs to be trauma-informed. And one of my favorite quotes from the conference, all of the conferences, was that we need to look for hooks for change. And that's a really, really impactful way to look at this. So where are we going to next? Now that we have these conferences, this is our last one. We're going to be engaging community members, survivors, and stakeholders in the development of a leading practice tool. And this is my official invitation that if you'd like to be involved, please indicate that on your feedback survey, which is posted in the communication section in the lobby, but it will also be coming to you in an email following the conference, or you can just email hopeconference@abusehurts.ca and express your interest in being involved in that process. So next, I just wanted to share some of the upcoming events that Abuse Hurts has going on and where they're going to be. So to start, they're going to be at the Newmarket Home Show on Saturday, April 1st and Sunday, April 2nd. They're in booth 243 from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Ray Tweeny Recreation Center here in Newmarket. So stop by and say hello to the Abuse Hurts staff. They're also doing a Building Hope Together workshop. And this is a fun-filled professional 4-week workshop focusing on positive personal growth and enhancement. The workshops begin on Tuesday, April 11th, and they run from 6 till 8 p.m. over 4 weeks. And they feature hands-on application, guidance, and tips on reestablishing confidence and building self-esteem for personal and professional advancement. As always, there's a Delivering Hope boutique. This is where you can find your next great fashion piece. It's a unique thrift store with clothing, shoes, accessories, and housewares, and all of the sales go to support the amazing work that Abuse Hurts continues to do. So if you're in the Newmarket area, starting April 5th, these are the hours that the store will be open. And then on June 7th, they're going to have a fashion show with an Italian flair, which is going to be at Old Town Hall in Newmarket. Again, the benefits of the fashion show will go to Abuse Hurts to help them continue to do the great work that they're doing. So finally, I wanted to say thank you to all of our speakers. They made our conferences engaging, and they had so much to share with all of us, and it was very valuable. We'll be posting all of the sessions on the Abuse Hurts YouTube channel, so you'll be able to access and listen to all of the speakers there that have occurred over the 3 conferences. And then I want to thank the amazing team that helped us put this conference series together, and they're all on the screen here. We have Tam, Liz, Marcus, Laura, Ellen, and her dog, Angel Bobby, Jessica, Helena, myself, and my dog, Essa. I just want to thank everyone for the work that they've done to help put these conferences together. They take a little bit to get going, but now they're all pros at doing virtual conferences. And I'll just stop there. There's one thing in the chat. Oh, the t-shirts. You'll see in the conference, Dr. Frizzle was very, very kind. He made a donation of t-shirts that are for the Hope Conference, and they can be purchased. The purchase is in the communication area